What's up, you absolute monkey brain anime loving baboons? Today I'll be explaining my journey on how I obtained the 100% badge within Song of Horror and the insanity that took place upon the journey. Starting from unlocking the first achievement and ending with me obtaining the last achievement that wanted me to question my life choices by the end of it. Obviously, this game will contain spoilers about the game, and if you are slightly interested in playing but not sure about it, I would check out this video in the top left of the screen. They explain the game much better than I do. I'll also be talking about the story, but in a very meme-ish way. But if you want the story explained in a better way, I would recommend this video on the top right of the screen. Both videos will be in the description of this video, so if you're interested in the game, go check it out. This game contains 44 achievements, which you can collect most of them on your first playthrough.
Are you serious?
The game is an episodic type of game split into 5 episodes. Each episode has some very related achievements, like beating the episode with a specific character, beating a deathless, obtaining the collectibles within a certain episode. We'll get back to this in a short while. Trust me, they hold a lot of power that I did not even realize until the end of the game. And some very missable trophies that I will go over. And with that, let's start the achievement hunting. We start the game as our main protagonist, Daniel Neuer, who has lost everything: his wife, Sophie, his house, and he's just spiraled down into nothingness. But eventually he recovered from his gaming girl bathwater addiction and is now working for Ethan. And on this lovely day, Daniel receives a phone call. The phone call is from Daniel's boss asking us to go check on Mr. Husher since he hasn't responded in a while with any news on his newest yaoi story, and while we act like a little bitch,
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad!
we eventually agree and leave the house to go check on him. We pull up to Mr. Husher's house like we're from the hood and begin to investigate, realizing that the door has left open and we can hear something off in the distance. We then go explore the foreshadowing music and find a note on the door, and feck reading it. I ain't doing that shit. We enter the house and find an ugly ass door that seems to have just appeared and what might lead us to the Shadow Realm. And what do we do when we see it? We fucking explore it, because why not? Do you think we're smart human beings? Hell no! We go into the Shadow Realm and get locked in it, and with that we get our first achievement, a door that should not be. And the gameplay begins. A few days pass and people start to get worried about Daniel and what happened to him. This is where we get our first character choice. And since I don't feel like saying their names, I'm just going to come up with nicknames. Candle Girl, Daniel's ex, who is smart and left him. Nathana Bertinid, Daniel's boss who just doesn't want to pay for Daniel's life insurance. Alexander Laskin, who just drinks his pain away. And to be honest, I couldn't agree less. Let's go, baby! Whoa! And Alima Romez, who is just somehow here and just wants some money. This would also be a good time to explain the 4 different stats the characters have. First, starting with speed. Speed just means how fast you Naruto walk/run in the game. It's such a basic concept that your Down syndrome cousin could understand it. Stealth just means how often the presence will fight you while you're walking around trying to find your life purpose that doesn't exist. I'll explain the presence in more detail where this makes sense, so let's put a pin on that real quick. Strength. Strength just means how difficult it will be to keep that homework collection in your closet when the dorm minute game comes up. And also for how difficult it will be to crawl out of the prison shower when you drop a soap by mistake. Again, I'll explain these events when the time comes, so let's put another pin here. Serenity. Serenity is the last stat. This just means how fast you'll calm down when you realize there's a Taylor Swift concert around the corner. It also helps you with the hiding minigame and making sure that the demon from under your bed doesn't find you and tickle your toes.
What did he say?
There's also one more thing to keep in mind, and that is called your passive item. It varies from character to character. Some of them are pretty good, while others just shouldn't exist, like strawberry milk, because who actually drinks that crap? Chocolate milk is better. My first playthrough, I chose Ethna as my character since I thought his passive item would help me remember puzzle codes with my goldfish brain, but we'll learn very shortly that never happened. And this time we actually start the game. We arrive at the house and immediately walk through the front door, with of course the lights being completely out. From this point on, the game acts like any normal horror game from the older days, like Resident Evil 1, with its fixed camera angle and looking around for items like keys, tools, remotes, and miscellaneous crap we need for later, because every horror game has this. But before we can actually start looking around to somehow fix the power, we get our first encounter with the presence, and this is where our first minigame starts. Now let's pull out that first pin from earlier and explain what the hell is going on. This is where the door minigame gets first introduced and where the strength stat comes into play. To win the minigame, you have to spam the A button and click the right trigger when you think it's the correct time to. You could risk it if you wanted to by trying to get the white line around the circle to max strength, but you also have to keep in mind, if you try this, you run to risk of getting killed. So my only piece of advice is to try to reach the halfway point and slam the door, but if you get lucky and get the massive click boost, try to get a full circle, and if you get the crappy boost, try to slam early and switch to a better one. And after that encounter, we get a second achievement, hold the door. For blocking the door against the presence, we then continue on our journey once again. This time we were allowed to go upstairs for whatever fucking reason. But before we do that, we turn back on the power for the house after solving the fuse problem, which I don't want to admit, but took me much longer to solve than I would like to. And after turning it on, we were actually allowed to see instead of being completely blind. This time we run upstairs and immediately get our second encounter. We then run and hide in the closet and the second minigame begins. How to win this minigame is pretty basic if you have a brain cell. Just click left and right trigger when the white within the circle closes in on the center and keep your calm. Now let's take that pin out from earlier. One thing to keep in mind is that this is where serenity comes into play, and the higher the serenity, the faster it is for the minigame to end, and the easier it is for your character to calm down. But after escaping from the presence, we leave the closet as a new man, take that how you will, while also getting our third achievement, that being dying of the life for resisting the darkness. We then explore the upstairs some more and find ourselves more keys, a metal hook, and a totally normal doll that every doll-loving person has. With our newfound metal hook, we enter the attic and of course find some creepy-ass girl just standing in the corner. And after debating for 5 minutes, I approach her, and she doesn't just rip my head off in an instant, and instead hands me the first collectible of the episode. This is the first of 3 within the episode, and later on, I do get the other 2 and get our first collectible achievement, that being Paper Shadows. This collectible achievement type is in every episode. We then leave the attic, thank God, and enter the parents' bedroom. This is where we start collecting the actual creepy dolls. There's 4 strewn about in the house, and after looking around for a bit, we find the other 3 fuckers. We then start the dollhouse puzzle, and thank God I actually solved it within a decent time, because I was starting to question if I was really just stupid. After solving the puzzle, we get ourselves a key from the dollhouse, but before we can use it on the door that took Daniel, I have to reveal that I got myself killed in this episode. Twice. So that ruined my plan for getting the Deathless achievement. Hopefully this doesn't happen in every episode. This is also a good time to mention the permadeath mechanic in the game. If you die with a character, you permanently lose that character throughout the entire playthrough, and lose any achievement connected to that until you start a new playthrough. Something to just keep in mind. After that puzzle, we start to find notes around the house right next to the voodoo dolls, the exact places where we put them within the dollhouse. So after a quick collection of the notes, we obtained this. Aid us, save us, we are doomed bound, slave to its desire. Help us make it, pull us through, toss the dark one in the fire. So with this note, we run back upstairs and burn the only normal doll we found in the house. May God have mercy on his soul. But in burning the doll, we enter the study room and the shadow door has reappeared. And of fucking course we go in, but this time we don't actually get stuck and find Daniel curled up on the ground. Like he just figured out his infinite chocolate glitch doesn't actually exist, and has become soul crushed. But hey, at the very least, we unlock 2 achievements, those being an unexpected guest for beating against Alexander, and elsewhere for beating the chapter itself. Now at the end of every episode, I'm kind of going to give like my brief review of it, so here we go. In the review form of this first episode, I want to say that this episode is actually pretty good. We're starting the game and understanding the concept and how the game will work. It's not super long, it's not the absolute shortest either, just the right amount of length to get you invested in the game. The puzzles are also pretty difficult, but not too frustrating. The rest of the puzzles just spiral me down into fucking madness later on. But with that, we finally end the first episode and move on to episode 2. We start with Daniel waking up from the coma and begin talking about the music box, and who may know more about it. We learned that a person named Isaac Farber, who held previous possession of the music box before Mr. Husher. So we start an investigation at Mr. Farber's shop and are able to select new characters and ones we played from earlier. The Drunken Man, Music Girl, Isaac's daughter and probably someone who listens to heavy metal music but somehow isn't an emo yet. Decent Cop, a cop with the most useless weapon in any horror movie, a gun. And with our main character, Daniel Neuer, the absolute moron who gets us into this situation. Daniel Neuer has a special property where if he dies, we have to reset the entire episode. So your best plan is to save him as your last resort. So that's exactly not what we're going to do. Yeah! I died 20 minutes into this attempt. So, don't be an idiot like me. This time we enter the eerily quiet Isaac Farber shop and immediately learn, after looking around for a bit, that the music box is here but inside a wardrobe that was covered in blood and is held within the storage rooms. So the investigation has begun to look for storage room keys and make some luminal. And along the way we find our first culture coin within a samurai suit. This episode contains 4 culture coins in it, but before we can even get them all, we have to run into our first encounter with the Silence. The Silence is a crippled monster with absolutely no sight but super hearing instead. So good in fact that it can hear you open up your yellow and orange YouTube website, even behind doors. Don't think I don't know what you looked up last night. But we'll ignore that fact. The minigame works by adjusting the white circle to get us close to the ever-moving line. If you fuck up because you forgot to breathe like I do when I find a very hot waifu, the monster will move ever closer to you. However, you do get a few chances if you fuck up, so it's not the end of the world. Just be careful. Some advice for these encounters is to just usually hold one of the triggers down unless the white circle becomes super small or super large, and just don't be a dumbass, and you got it. After getting through the encounter, we get our next achievement, A Quiet Place. Sweet! After that, though, we don't really get any other new encounters besides a few door and hiding minigames. And we eventually collect some of the ingredients for luminol, and after some puzzle solving with having to read words, we obtain the storage room keys. We then get the rest of the luminol ingredients and the puzzle begins. We're actually making meth. luminal. This puzzle actually wasn't that bad. It was a pretty solid puzzle. Sure, I got hung up for a bit, but eventually I put the pieces together and had a fun time. Probably, in my opinion, the best well-rounded puzzle to solve in the game. In making the luminal, we do get our second collectible achievement after looking around for a decent while, and with putting all the coins into the machine, we get Coulter's Wisdom Tooth, and the achievement, the Tooth Fairy. Fitting. But with all that done, we finally unlock the storage room door, and the hunt begins. We immediately find blood on the ground and start following it, but before we can make massive progress, we run into this thing.
What the hell?
This thing has caused me so much stress and panic to the point where I pause the game and breathe, trying not to have a fucking heart attack. This part of the game has the scariest motherfucker in the entire game. I don't feel anything comes close to this except for maybe one thing, but we'll get to that eventually. But before we can celebrate even more about how scary this motherfucker is, we run into one of the mini doors and slam it behind us while also having to do a mandatory, keep this in mind, door fight. But with enough strength and being scared shitless, we shut it and take ourselves a breath. After checking the door for anything, the real hunt begins, where we are the prey. And after a long run around trying to find where we need to go, we finally find the wardrobe that contains the music box. But before we can open it, we find ourselves a cassette tape and we listen to it.
It's gone. The box isn't here. I've got it. I've had it all this time. How could it be possible? What the devil is happening to me? I have to get to my office. I must wrap it and send it to its owners. LeGrant Amsberg. They're the ones who... My office. I'm going to... I hear them crawling all over and screaming. Erica, come to my office. We'll all be there.
After listening to it and growing a curiosity, we followed the instructions to meet him at the office. So we leave the room, and before making our way out, we get chased by the monster again. So we grab the crowbar right next to it and break the door down, just barely in time, and shut it behind us in an instant before we get consumed. We then walk back out from the downstairs, open Isaac Farmer's front door, and walk down the looming hallway. We use the crowbar from earlier to open the locked door and discover this.
Get the fuck out of my room! I'm playing Minecraft!
Yeah, I'm not going to show what happens, mostly because YouTube would snipe my video for this, and because you can mostly imagine what happens. If you don't know, just imagine the story scene. You know the one I'm talking about. You know. But after that, we end the chapter and get our 2 achievements. The first one being Homecoming, and the second one being Silence in Heaven. But wait, where's my Deathless achievement? Surely I didn't die, right? Yeah, no, I did. I was too curious again and got myself killed. But let's just ignore that. So my thoughts on this chapter. It's the second best one from all 5 of them. It has the scariest encounter of the game. The chapter doesn't feel too long, it doesn't overstay its welcome. The puzzles are probably top notch, with just being the right amount of difficulty, with all of them not requiring a Google search to solve them, and has the best enemy mechanic from the rest. But now, let's move on to episode 3. Before the episode begins, we learn that Isaac Farber bought the music box from an auction from the LeGrant family. So with some luck, we learn that a daughter of the family is still alive. So we travel to the disheveled estate and return the music box to Ariane de LeGrant, thinking he might relieve us of this curse. We then start the episode by walking into the State University of Arts and Humanities, hopefully to find any clues towards the disappearance of Mr. Husher and for what he might have been researching with the LeGrant family. In this episode, we get only 3 characters, actually. Daniel Neuer, as usual, Asian Nerd, the nerd that always mentions the homework right before the bell rings, and Caffeine, the one who's always addicted to caffeine even to the point of using pills. I chose Amar as my starting character when we first start searching in the modern archive. This section is pretty easy. We find ourselves a locked door, a puzzle to find a key card, obtain the key card, and continue on. We then find some stairs, we descend down them, and find ourselves the door that contains important information. However, the door is locked and can't be opened with just any key. It requires the lever to be pulled, and even that's not that simple. The lever has to be held down to unlock the door, so we gotta find something to hold it down. So with that in mind, I look around the floor and find ourselves a door with any optional choice on it. Oh, I know what you're trying to do, game. You're trying to kill me. I won't make the same mistake. I leave with confidence in my choice and find a projector upstairs with some slides in the room beside it. This begins the next puzzle, and to be honest, it's the coolest one, and you'll see why. And to be honest, I solved it without any help of Google. Let's go! Whoa! I completely solved it by random and not even using the note that's supposed to help you. After solving the puzzle, a door appears, and we walk up to it and are able to open the door that should not even exist. This shit is the cool shit. I love this little bit, and I wish they used this for another section because damn it, this is just cool, but whatever. Find ourselves a saw and commit a saw movie trope and cut an arm off from the husk of a body. After that, we leave the room, run back downstairs, use the arm on the lever, and enter the locked room. After walking down every aisle, we find a book one way or another connected to the music box. So we take it and begin to leave, but before we can reach the end, hands begin to form on the ground and we get dragged and pulled.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
This is where the first Abyss minigame starts, and to be honest, it's the funnest one. It's a little bit simple where you spam the A button to build up the white line around the circle to break out, but you must also pay attention more than you may think, because you might have to press the X or B button when it prompts up. If you fail to click it, all progress you essentially make gets paused, or you just lose it and have to spam click your way out of it. So I can't really give any advice on this game, just make sure you have strong fingers. After barely escaping the Abyss, we leave the room and return back to the group with newfound information, but we have to continue the investigation. And this is where they let you choose a different character for the next section. And I really like this, and I wish that we use this in any of the chapters because it allows you to change up your strategy if you knew something you needed a specific character for a better advantage on. But whatever, I switch my characters up and choose Grace Richards as my next character. We walk into the next room trying to find any more clues, or of any news connected to the Legrand's. Nothing is really worth talking about. We find more items. I did meet a ghost! But again, nothing really worth writing home about. I did, however, after a while, find ourselves an ancient item connected to the Northern advertisement from 1930. And with that, we go onto a computer and find ourselves news about the family connected to a murder incident with the only survivor being Ariande. We then print the papers and begin to leave, but before we can reach the end, the monster from episode 2 shows up and begins to chase us.
What's up, bitch?
We run trying to find a way out, yet nowhere for us to leave or escape, and we die. Wait, what the fuck? Why did I die? You gotta be kidding me. The one time I played safe and didn't fucking risk it all, I fucking died. That's fucking bullshit. Whatever. We'll fix this later. After that death, I chose Amar again. I retrieved the items I lost, made my way out this time, and made it back to Daniel. But even after talking about what we knew, we had one more place to investigate for our last spark in finding Husher. The library. The library contains some information on Husher and what he used to find the music box with. So with that, we start the search. We begin walking around, and before we can start making some serious progress, we get attacked by monstrous human beings from within the Shadow Realm. We break out of the Shadow's grip, and it started the next puzzle. We check the monitors like it's fucking FNAF, and learn that it's an invisible maze. To be honest, this is pretty cool. Thumbs up. After fixing a camera and constantly checking the monitors, again, like FNAF, we do get our way through the maze to the papers that Husher was investigating. And this time we leave without getting killed by some random bullcrap. With all the information we've gathered, we learn where Husher has gone. He has gone to this address, because fuck you, I ain't gonna say that shit. But that is also connected to the music box and an incident that happened there. Any information is needed. But with that, we end the chapter and sadly only get 2 achievements. Those being this and the Yellow Brick Road. We missed out on a collectible and the Deathless achievement. Before we start episode 4 though, we enter an interlude where we play as Husher himself. But I'm just going to skip it since nothing really happens, but we do get an achievement at the end, that being Reflections. I think this episode is pretty cool. You're able to switch up characters, the level is short and sweet, and has some pretty sweet concepts within the level. And I really wish they used the concepts more often, but we don't have time to waste. Let's go. We reach this location, and the episode begins. This time we start the episode with 4 characters to choose: Daniel, Sophie, Alexander, and the new man, Super Hearing, a man who somehow hasn't died from diabetes yet. I begin the episode with Ernest just because it's a new character with maybe a good item. But we jump into the scene. This episode must really like keys because I find 2 keys before we get introduced to something interesting into our last minigame out in the open yard, the Requiem. This minigame is my least favorite minigame in the entire game, and I'll explain that a little bit. But first, let me explain how it works. Your weapon against the Requiem is your lantern and your mirror. You have to aim the mirror at the Requiem and focus in on it. If you don't focus on the Requiem correctly or just slightly off the body, the Requiem will decide to just ghost you like your girlfriend after discovering your Discord chat log. But instead of it being able to fully disappear, it leaves behind a black smoke, and you must keep your eyes on it. Wherever the smoke ends up is where the Requiem will spawn. If you somehow lose the smoke and are able to find it in time, it will go into the smoke again and reappear closer to you. If you are able to hurt the Requiem, it will vanish and reappear somewhere, this time much further away from you. Again, you must banish it with the power of God. After doing this enough times, it will be truly banished, and you'll be released from its clutches. And we do get our next achievement. Another word I'm not going to pronounce, because I'm too stupid for that. Suckers! Before I continue, I would like to try and give some advice just in case. One thing to keep in mind when fighting the Requiem is that if you don't banish it fast enough, multiple will start appearing, and that's probably the worst case scenario. But it's not totally game over, you can still win it, so good luck. But after that encounter, we move on to get even more keys. God damn it! But we do encounter some fun puzzles and learn that we need 4 colored keys. What's with all the damn keys? This time though, it's much harder to get the keys, and each one requires some kind of puzzle. For the first one, we go for the blue key, and we have to solve this puzzle where it can result in our death if we make a mistake. So don't be an idiot like me. After 20 minutes of pulling levers and trying not to get myself killed, we get through and enter the Basilia, where our first key is located. We first cause some property damage by destroying the holy sanctuary by dropping a metal pipe. We investigate the noise and obtain the blue key. 1 down, 3 to go. We obtain the green key by committing surgery on a deceased body and breaking every rib possible. We then go for the yellow key. Before we can get the yellow key though, we have to cook up some powerful acid. This puzzle took me so long and eventually I just gave up and I had to Google it. I was a Google bitch. I had to look it up. I spent hours on this thing. But eventually, I did make the fucking powerful acid, and we were able to use it on some shit. We obtained the yellow key by committing grave robbery and getting myself killed. Yeah, I saw the grenade and thought in my head, I could totally grab it without dying. So again, there goes my deathless achievement. I never loved you anyway. The last key, the red key, is obtained within this house. So we get the bronze key and committed breaking and entering. Nope, 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 nope. This is where we leave. After a bit of time and calling God, we enter the house again and find ourselves every weeb's shrine to any Shinigami they know. But we do find ourselves a wax-like Bloody Mary. Upon viewing the back of it, we find ourselves a key hidden within it. So we melt the wax Mary to get the key and burn ourselves in the process of picking it up because patient requires you to be smart. I burn myself because that's what happens on this channel. But with all 4 colored keys obtained, we reach the locked door and remove all the locks holding it. And with us entering, we find ourselves a dead Mr. Husher. And with that, we end the 4th episode once and for all, and attain the achievement through the looking glass. In conclusion with this episode, I dislike this episode quite a bit. Mostly because damn the Requiem. I've died so many times to that, I've considered jumping to the nearest void. The puzzles in this level were pretty fun to extremely fuck you, so this in my eyes is the weakest episode compared to the rest of them. Now on to the 5th episode. We're almost at the end, thank God. We must investigate the rundown and broken mental hospital that Ariana Legrand went to. After the incident at the family house, we must find any information connected to Ariana in the music box itself. In this episode, we get 4 classic characters, except for one massive disadvantage. We are only able to use 2 characters! We get to choose one of the 3 characters out of the start, those being Sophie, Ethany, and the new girl, Lydia, and I'm not going to say that last name, an average person with lung problems. We arrive at the destroyed hospital and find the generator, but since we're not a degenerate who plays Dead by Daylight, we break the generator instead of turning it on. Well, we do find a cable replacement and avoid the newest hentai incident. So we turn on the generator and start the investigation once again. We then start on the hardest puzzle in the game, the damn photo puzzle. Putting the photo back together isn't the issue. The issue is after you put it together. And it's so hard that even the developers of the game had to help the community with flipping clues. So if that doesn't explain why this is the hardest puzzle in the game, then I don't know what will. But after trying for 25 minutes and reading the clues and eventually giving up, I looked up the solution. We skip the cutscene, run upstairs, play the piano for the Shadow Realm, enter the morgue, and get ourselves a scalpel and a broken belt. The same belt your dad used to beat you. We then walk across the room that just magically opened up for whatever reason. And of course, we walk in. We do get our first dream interaction through the eyes of Brinius Prestigard, the doctor who was helping Ariana after the incident, which is decently cool, but I don't got that time. So we're just going to speedrun this, and by the end, we do get our first dream achievement. Another name I will not freaking pronounce because frick you. We then use the scalpels to obtain some flares, run back downstairs, use the flares, grab some medieval gloves, fix the belt, fix the elevator with the belt, somehow, and we go up the elevator, find our last information of the past, and obtain the achievement, the Shadow Out of Time, while also getting shielded by madness along the way by reading all 8 documents in episode 5. Now, quick warning, I don't know how I really got this achievement, because apparently this one is really buggy. Apparently you're supposed to read all 8 documents, but I don't really know if that's true way, or if I just interacted with every single goddamn thing in the game and just got it somehow. So if you're going for this, I would warn you, just pray to the gods that you get lucky, I guess. We walked into a new room, obtained our second dream container, finished it as quickly as possible, and we get our next one, Morella. After exploring the floor for a bit, we collect the third dream recording and all 3 Ariana's drawings. Getting the collectible achievement for the episode, the oval portrait. We then do the third dreamscape, finish it quickly, and the achievement didn't pop. I'm sure that it will fix itself eventually and definitely won't cause problems to the point where I consider downing cyanide pills. With that information we obtained from the dreams, we inform Daniel about the music box and how we can get rid of it. And we don't obtain the achievement for beating the episode. It'll fix itself, so nothing to worry about. In conclusion with this episode is a little shorter than the rest, and to be honest, I quite enjoyed it. For a first playthrough, I enjoyed the dream sequences, though they could use some improved voice acting in all honesty. But as a final episode with all the plot twists, it was quite nice. Thumbs up. The last and final part of the game. We play as Daniel and we return to the broken down mansion that Ariana Grande lives in. Ariana Legrand. We enter the mansion and talk to Ariana Legrand about where the music box is. Ariana tells us and we immediately run to find it, and we do. With the obtained music box and again with some ritual work, we enter the Shadow Realm ourselves. And this is where I learned that the collectibles actually give you a benefit one way or another, and a good time to explain what they all do. Usher's Haikus. This is the weakest collectible item unless you're smart, which, if you can tell by now, I'm not. Coulter's Wisdom Tooth. This collectible can save you from dying by dropping onto the ground when you attempt to open a door that would otherwise kill you. So, in all honesty, a decent item. I would like it. Maxwell's Lucky Coin. This will help you with making choices on interactions that could insta-kill you, but if you've already played this game once, it kinda becomes useless since you already kinda know what kills you and what doesn't kill you, but who knows, maybe just have amnesia. The tarot cards. This is probably the best collectible in the entire game. Each card has a special property where it can banish one entire minigame from ever happening again. The only thing that sucks is that you need the next collectible in Chapter 5 so you can actually get some breathing room for the last and final puzzle. Ariana's Johnny. This helps you with the final door that guards us from reaching the end. Instead of us needing to solve 4 puzzles to unlock it, we instead only need to do 2, thank the Lord. So with that all explained, let's end this. We first knock on the doctor's door. For minigame requires us to help our patients listen to some sweet music.
#1 victory royale, yeah, Fortnite, we bout to get down. 10 kills on the board right now.
But since they don't like the sweet music, little goobers, they decided to play Among Us and decided to mimic each other. So we have to figure out who the imposter is, and after some deduction, we figure out that it's the first and second room. With that puzzle done and over, 2 of the lanterns at the door go out, and we must go on. The second door we knock on is Isaac Farber's door, and I can't really show what this puzzle is about since YouTube might snipe me while I'm sleeping because of the content. Just imagine that we're an executioner, except for we can't see any Sierras on any of the squares around the room, so we have to rely on photos to deduce where they are. So after committing some Sierra murder, we get through the puzzle and unlock the final door. We walk in, I get my thumbnail for the video.
So that was a fucking lie.
And we place the music box where it should stay for all eternity. But the president doesn't seem to like that, so he tries to make us stay with him forever like some casual yandere trope. But too bad Daniel isn't into that shit.
Get me out of here!
So we leave. Barely by a third of our life, and we can calm down and breathe, with the nightmares finally over. We leave the Shadow Realm, never to enter again. With this all behind us, we finally fall asleep and get some well-needed rest. But all of a sudden we wake up and yet we hear another music box coming from where Ariana is sitting. And even the banishment of the music box, there was another one for the second daughter all along, therefore bringing Daniel's life to a fateful end. What the fuck? This ending to the game, in my opinion, is pretty cool. While others might not like it, and to be honest, that's pretty fair actually. After all, we just spent hours trying to save Daniel for it all to be for nothing. But the reason I like this is because most stories similar to this don't have happy endings to them, and that's kind of what I like. Just knowing that not every story needs a happy ending. It's still a good ending though, 10 out of 10. And with this death, we get every now and then, and there and back again. But we're not over yet, so we must continue onward. Before we start our journey for the Alone in the Dark achievement, we must start our journey for every missed achievement. I decided to start with Chapter 5 since that has 5 mystic achievements, and I beat the episode not once, not twice, but 3 times! And I still don't get any of the achievements. I did, however, do research about this and figured out that this episode has glitch achievements, more or less, when you pick the episode and play it from there. So hopefully it'll just fix itself later when we do another playthrough. So let's just move on to episode 4. I completed episode 4 so many times I can do it in the back of my hand. But you're probably thinking why? Why did I complete it several times? And I have my logical reason. I'm a dumbass. I first completed the game with Ernest while also doing a deathless to obtain the Unforgiven and One for All for One. But the reason I completed the level several times was because of the damn tarot card achievement. I first thought you needed to beat the episode with all those tarot cards to pop the achievement. No. I collected what I thought was only 4 tarot cards in the episode, but after even more research on the game, I then discovered that there wasn't 4 tarot cards, there was fucking 5 of them. So after playing one last time and finally getting every damn tarot card, we get It of Many Faces. And I never had to play episode 4 again. I'm glad that you existed, but I'm also glad I never had to see you again. This time I decided to spice it up and play episode 1 again instead of episode 3. Again, I start the episode as Ethne and decide to speedrun it. And in doing so, I didn't get killed this time. Get absolutely dunked on, Presence. I'm better than you. But by beating it, I got hands-on boss in the fall of the House of Husher. I then get an alarming discovery as Elena and Princess in Shining Armor as Sophie. With these last 2 achievements, we end the episode and move on to episode 2. I first started as Daniel just to quickly get this achievement, and I get it without any problems. So we get cleaning after myself, and of course for doing a deathless, we also get faster than death. We also play one more time as the cop and get downpour. With that, we end episode 2, and this time I didn't suffer in the process. Let's go, baby! Whoa! Now for episode 3, and it's the same mumbo jumbo. Except for this time, I'm not an idiot, and I pick up the shears to save me from certain death, and to get the collectible achievement by handing the ring to Maxwell, getting us till honor do us part. I also beat the game as Grace, getting us a particular lesson. And of course the Deathless achievement being, I'm not going to say that. You think I'm going to fall for that shit? We still need all the achievements connected to episode 5, and one last miscellaneous achievement, that being a parting gift. This achievement took me a good amount of time and luck to get. To get this achievement, you need to obtain a gift from a character who has previously died in the same episode you are in. Now this requires a little bit of luck, since to get the gift, you need to interact with the cursed character. Now this is also luck-based because either the curse will kill you,
Good, it has fish in it, and it...
or actually gift you the passive item. There are several ways to manipulate fate into your favor. The first thing you can do is switch the game difficulty from Edgar Allan Poe to MR James. This will increase the chances of encountering a friendly curse rather than one that just kills you. You can also know if it's friendly by listening to its dialogue. If it sounds more on the positive side, then it's friendly. If it sounds negative, then it'll kill you. These are the best ways to roll the dice in your favor, but the rest is based on luck and chance. So after 45 minutes of walking in and out of rooms, I finally run into a curse and the RNG gods are on my side. I obtain the gift and get the achievement. Let's go! Now that we're done with every miscellaneous achievement, besides the achievements in episode 5, but we'll get back to that, we can start the Alone in the Dark journey, and this is where my mind and body want to shrivel up and die. The Alone in the Dark achievement has a completion rate of 1.4 on Steam, so is it as hard as the stats say it is on Steam? No, not really. You would think that the achievement is difficult since you only have one life and you must play as Daniel whenever you can, and if you die it's a full reset. I mean, there's a way to cheat the system by file saving on Steam and just rolling back the clock like a Chronos, but 1, I'm too lazy for that, and 2, that feels like cheating. So for the sake of not getting sent to the Shadow Realm, I won't use it. There's nothing much to really talk about, it's mostly the exact damn same. Just went through chapter 1 to 4 with mostly nothing really happening. I did die on chapter 2 because I'm a moron and got myself killed, so that was a 30-minute run to waste, but that wasn't too bad, I made it back pretty fast. So sweet. I eventually made it back to chapter 5, and besides most of it being the same with me playing as Lydia, because I wasn't able to play as Daniel, and most of it is the exact same. Except this time when I got through the third dream and reached the end, I finally got all the achievements connected to the episode. All at once, just like how your mother likes it. We get the Pit and the Pendulum, On the Shoulders of Giants, Blind to the Horror, Your Caring Gaze, Deaf to the Song. But with that, we also got our Alone in the Dark achievement without too much pain. The only painful part is just doing a whole new playthrough, but thank God that's over and we can finally end this. Wait, what? If I were to describe this achievement, it would be, fuck you, go eat dirt. This achievement is very, very difficult. All minigames are nearly impossible. First of all, the hiding minigame is just impossible. If you get this while exploring, you might as well just let your character die. I never figured out how to effectively do it, and I just wanted to die every time it happened. Second one is the door minigame. This minigame is actually doable, but you gotta be close to being a god at the game if you want to beat it. I've been able to beat it only twice through the entire playthrough and died at every other encounter. Strength characters will be your savior. Third on the rank is the Requiem minigame. This minigame is slightly more doable. It's also mostly the same. The only thing that keep in mind is that the Requiem moves faster, and that also the figs almost spawn instantly. I can usually get through this, but I've died a couple times as well. And fourth, we have the Abyss minigame. This one has a high chance of beating, but also very, very frustrating. The only thing that's different is that if you get caught on the left or right, you will likely lose all your progress you built up, and you might just not gain any progress at all after beating it. And the best minigame out of all of them would be the Silence minigame. This minigame is an absolute win, no matter what. It might be slightly more difficult, but I never died once. So pray to the gods you get this, and if you do, have a great time and listen to some jazz music. These games also don't help us with a highly increased chance of showing up throughout the run. The good thing about this achievement though is that we only have to reach the end of the game, and even if we lose every character and have to reset the episode, that doesn't affect the achievement, so dying isn't really a problem. So let's start. Most of the playthrough is the same besides me dying with nearly every character. There are some things I do want to point out though. In episode 1, while running around, I got the goddamn Abyss minigame. However, I was able to break out of it, but damn, the game holds no fucking punches back. Good to know, you know. Within episode 2, I nearly lost all the progress because of this one goddamn door. And by the way, did I not mention this? You cannot skip it. Not once, even if you do die. So after dying several times and barely winning as our final character, we are able to get through it, and after running around for a long time and having several heart attacks, we're able to beat the episode. Episode 5 was the toughest it has ever been. This took me so much time and luck. I died so many times that I'm too lazy to do the research and will leave my future video editing self to figure it out. Sucks for you. I would die so many times right at the end or near the end. I'd also get pretty unlucky on some runs and just lose it all in one minigame. Because keep in mind, you only get 2 characters for this episode. 2! So you better be good at the game, but dying wasn't the most painful part, it was getting through the damn dream sequences. I really wish there was a skip feature because the amount of times I had to do it nearly got me to the point of quitting this damn game. But after enough times of bashing my skull, questioning my life choices, and staring into the abyss, I eventually got a lucky run and avoided all minigame encounters and got lucky with the ones I did encounter. I was able to finally beat the game and achieve our last and hardest achievement. The presence waits streaming. With that done, we have now obtained all achievements and get ourselves the sacred 100% badge. In all honesty, getting every achievement wasn't too horrible. The only bad part of this game was just doing several playthroughs in the HP Lovecraft achievement. So if you have some free time and just like a good horror game, I would try this game out. But I will admit some of the puzzles require Google or just the mind of fucking Sherlock Holmes to solve. So in conclusion of this game, I give the fun factor a 7.5 Eldritch Horrors out of 10 and 7 normal dolls out of 10 for all the achievements. Thank you for watching the video. I do hope you enjoyed watching me get every achievement. I'm sorry for the quality drop and all the glitches through the video. I was running this game on my gaming laptop, which wanted to explode several times, and by the time this video finally released, I got myself a PC built. So I'll be using that more often for videos. But if you do like this video, I guess let me know. If you people are interested, I'll make some more videos. I'll make the audio quality better. I'll try to be more funny, I guess. But if you guys are interested, I'm just going to give a quick warning that it might take me some time. This video took me about probably 5-6 months now at this point. Yeah, I was lazy and I didn't really work on this, so that's my bad. But hey, thank you for reaching the end. And with that, have an amazing day, stay chill, and watch some anime.